What's up, guys? Blacksmith here. Hope you're all doing good. I wanted to drop a video talking about how to not get your account restricted and banned, at least how to make them last a bit longer, what you can do if it happens. I am going to make a much bigger deep dive in this. I went to film that video, the long form version of this video anyway, today. But when I was doing the research, I was coming up against a few things where I thought, if I spoke to someone who works at a bookie, this could be really useful information. So I'm going to put my feelers out and try and get a few interviews with some people from the trading teams. I've got a family connection through a person to one. So I'm going to try and leverage that. And this is someone who works on the trading team to have an off the record conversation, because I think then we can actually get a lot more detailed information. So I'm just going to go through a quick list of things you can do and you should be doing that hopefully is useful, because we've had a really good run in VIP and more people have been messaging me saying they've got their account restricted, or they've got messages that lead them to believe that their account's going to be restricted, like messages saying we're worried about how much you're gambling, which is code for you've been winning too much a lot of the time. So first thing to notice is there are certain things that you do on these platforms that trigger a manual review. So that means a human being from their trading team is going to go onto your account, look at the behavior, look at the bets, and make a decision. So it's a subjective decision made by a human. If you are a player who's got an edge, who is making money over time, if you've just been lucky and had a few wins, if you've just happened to withdraw a large amount of money. Because if you withdraw a lot of money, that also triggers a bit of a warning. But it could be that you already have deposited a large amount of money. So it could be a false alarm. So the first thing you've got to realize is they are looking for behaviors that a professional would do. So a good example of this is if you are betting a very specific amount or a multiple of that amount, let's say, I don't know, £56.75. So you bet that, or you bet a multiple of that because your unit size is that. You've worked out that is exactly 1% of your bankroll. You're going to get shut down quickly because they can see you're using a system. That's not something that amateurs do. Let's get rid of this guy. He's going to be trouble, or girl. So you want to use round numbers, 20, 25, 50. Okay, maybe that's not 1% of your account, but round it up or down to the nearest multiple of 5 or 10. That's one thing you should be doing because that will catch their eye straight away. The second thing is withdrawals. Now, this is a touchy subject and a lot of people get upset because they say, well, why shouldn't I be withdrawing my money? I'm making profit. What's the point in doing this if I can't take the profits? Unless you're like someone like me, actually, I'm still building my bankroll. I want to get up to 6 figures where I've got a huge amount of money and where that 10%, 15% per month is a significant chunk of income. It's not just an extra 1,000 or 2,000 a month like it is now for me most of the time. So what you need to be doing is growing your bankroll, not taking it out all the time. It's like investing. If you put in £10,000 a year to the S&P 500 and it grows 10%, so you make 1,000, you don't take that 1,000 out, you put it back to work. Sports betting is exactly the same. You keep putting it to work, and as your account grows, you're making more money. So why would you want to take that profit out and stop yourself from making more income? Because your percentage return, your ROI, is going to rise as your bankroll rises. So you don't want to be making withdrawals. But if you have to, make small withdrawals, just do them more frequently. And when you're withdrawing as well, it's a good idea to have a lot of money staked. So if your account gets reviewed, the trader who reviews it sees, okay, he's taken out £1,000 over the last, 30 days, but he's also staked 5,000. So, okay, he's taking money out, but he's still betting money. And they've got a big edge. So they think they're going to make money from you over time, unless they can see you're making a lot of profit. So the next thing you want to be doing as well is make a lot of square bets. So a square is a losing sports bettor. A sharp is a winning sports bettor. Square bets are bets that are on teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, usually Man City, but obviously they are not who they once were, but they're one of the most heavily bet teams in football. So they're still a team that are betted by squares all the time. NBA is considered a mug punter sport. It's very hard to make profit from NBA. It's notorious for that. So if you have bets on NBA, on Arsenal to win, accumulators as well with these teams in, they're going to think, this is a square account. Obviously, you want to pick your spots. You don't have to lose those bets, by the way. You can still win them. They'll just think that you're getting lucky. So make sure you pick the right matches. Okay, maybe you're not getting great value, but maybe you think, it doesn't matter, this is going to win. I can do it as a one-off, something I'm not going to do very often, just to cover my tracks. So that's something else you can do. The other thing is, have multiple accounts. Guys, I've got so many accounts that I forget about them. And I've got a spreadsheet that's got them all in. Someone the other day mentioned a bookie, or a couple of weeks ago, mentioned a bookie to me. And I was like, I've got to sign up to them. Those odds are great. And I already had an account with not an insignificant amount of money in it. And I'd completely forgotten about it. You want to keep track of your money, so have a spreadsheet. But you want to have a load of accounts. And you want to be placing your bets wherever the best line is. Because a small difference in the line value adds up a lot over time. And if you consider most professionals only make about 5% ROI, just getting a 5% better line can be the difference between profit and loss for most people. So use a lot of different betting websites, sports books, and use exchanges. So you can use the Betfair exchange, but there's loads of other exchanges available. So that's a peer-to-peer side of the Betfair website. So when you log into Betfair, you have sportsbook and then exchange. So exchange matches you up with other people making a bet. So there's no juice, so the lines are best. They're way better, or proportionally better than most bookies lines, because you don't have the juice. The thing that's bad about them is their UI is bad. It's more confusing to use, but you can easily learn it. You can just Google it if you don't understand it. And also, there's not always liquidity in every market, but for big games especially, I've never not been able to place a bet. So there usually should be enough liquidity for your bets. Now, you might not be able to bet everything on it. If you've got an obscure bet, that might not be available, but most big markets should be available on there. And then that also brings me to obscure markets. Now, if you're only betting, I don't know, Romania Division 2 or something like that, you're going to get pulled up quick because it's a small league. It's hard for the bookies to have an edge. Not many people are betting it, so they're not paying attention. So it's easier just to ban you if you're making a lot of money from one of these small leagues. You can still bet them, but you want to be betting other leagues that are more high profile, bigger markets that the bookies make money from, where their lines are sharper. If you're betting on, I don't know, Indonesian football or ping pong over in Finland or something, it's going to raise alarm bells. So those are the things you can do. There are also services that can get your accounts, but check to make sure that they're legal if you are going to go that route. And guys, there's so many bookies out there. You know, it's very, very difficult to get excluded from them all. There's other tricks you can do. There are certain bookies, if you know how they do their KYC, they know your customer. Like, for example, there's one large bookie who do it by your bank card. So if you send and get a new bank card, say your bank card's been lost, you get a new one, you can sign up. You obviously want to change your email address, but your house address, believe it or not, it doesn't flag up. Well, not for this bookie anyway. All bookies are a bit different. Sometimes I've seen, I don't know about the UK, but in the US, people just use a different device. This is what professionals do. They just get a new device and it's done by IP, and then they just get a new email, etc. When there's a will, there's a way. When there's lots of money involved, there's a way around it. And this is why you also want to network people and find out what they're doing. But with the exchanges, they don't take a cut. But if you make, I think on Betfair, over £20,000, they will take a percentage. But for most of you, that's not going to be a problem. And honestly, for most of you, you're a long way off being banned or restricted. You've got to be earning profit regularly for a long period of time for that to happen. So if you follow these rules, you should be able to make an account last for a good couple of years. In most cases, 18 months, maybe a year. And you're going to get your money back even if they block or restrict you. Make sure they've got a UK gambling license though. If they don't, it's just a company who can just dissolve after a year and screw everyone. So that's the main thing. Make sure they're a legitimate bookie. And I hope this information is useful. Don't be afraid of account bans. People always say, oh, you know, what's the point? They're just going to ban my account. How do you think we do it? How do you think we get around it? There's so many people sports betting. There's always something you can do. With enough money, there is a way around it. But do not use other people's accounts is the other thing I should have thrown in there. You can get in a lot of trouble for this. Some people have actually been done for fraud in some cases. There's some misinformation out there about how much trouble you'll get into, but it's just not a good idea. So I hope this is helpful. Keep winning. Keep smashing the bookies. And yeah, guys, if you've been following the plays recently, we've been hammering the bookie. So stick with it. You will make money long term if you do this properly.